Hey everybody, it's Aaron from Hunt Hard, Talk Free, and we are back with our post-COVID-19 podcast. And this episode is brought to you by ballistics.ca, who just released their custom Swarovski ballistic ring. So if you want to be shooting long range and you have a Swarovski Z5 or Z6 scope, reach out to www.ballistics.ca. On this episode, I've got my business partners in crime here. We've got Tim Schramm and Greg Johnson. And we just wanted to reach out and talk to our consumers, talk to our customers about where we're sitting now, post-COVID-19, I guess you could say the first wave. So all political conspiracy theories, medical data aside, we just want to focus on how COVID-19 has affected the sporting goods industry, our store, and hunting and fishing across Canada. So, how have gun sales been?
Pretty off the charts, pretty off the wall. It's been an interesting few months, the first quarter of our year. When COVID kicked in, it just seemed that everybody engaged in the hunting, shooting, just the shooting sports and their needs, and ammunition sales was unparalleled. I know for a fact our store's never ever seen that kind of growth in ammo sales. People were walking out with case lots of ammo and boxes of ammo and 10 of this and 5 of that. It was unbelievable, but it was pretty quick to find out that people figured that this was an essential activity, if you want to call it that, and people had the time. They were staying home. They weren't hopping on a jet and maybe keeping some of that cash in the country, which is a beautiful thing. And they had the time. A lot of people were off work, and I don't want to diminish how that affected a lot of people by any stretch of the imagination. That was pretty devastating and still is for a lot of people. But no, all in all, I think the shooting sports has ramped up here this year, and we're pretty pleased with sales. We're a fortunate business. We really are during these challenging times for a lot of people.
Yeah. I've also noticed a lot of customers seem to have more time due to COVID, whether they're staying at home, so they're actually getting out, spending more time, taking the kids shooting, and all negativity of COVID aside, I think there's been a lot more family time being put in, whether it's cooking, like Traeger's, for example. Smoker barbecues, we can't keep them in the building, and there's now becoming a supply and demand issue, but people are taking the time to get down home cooking again instead of just fast food. So
learning how to have a gourmet meal at home. Weird, you can actually do that
with your family. Family time. That's the one positive that came out of it for sure.
No, and less travel as well. Everyone's just hopping on the quad. They're heading out into our wide open spaces. I mean, if you want social distancing, you go out in the backcountry, bring your family. There's no one to trip over, and they're shooting, they're quadding, they're hunting, they're fishing. They definitely are engaging in the outdoors way more. I see it if you drive past local hikes, like toward Tumbler and things like that, that usually you might see one vehicle, maybe, in a parking lot once in a while. Now you see that trailhead's been, there's 3 or 4 vehicles there and lots of people hiking and just enjoying it.
Yeah, spend more time. Lots of people out hiking around Tumbler lately.
Oh.
Customers coming in to buy bear spray and
Yep.
and GPSs and things like that.
Yeah.
Greg, you've been doing this for 20 years now?
Oh, yeah.
And Tim, 30 some odd years? 32 years?
33, yeah.
Have you ever been through anything like the COVID-19 pandemic working in this industry?
I was here in Y2K, and there was people that were, kind of preppers at that point, like if you want to call them preppers. Freeze-dried food, and the computer systems were going to crash, and then there was going to be financial uproar and different things. So, yeah, there was kind of but not a health pandemic, so to speak. More of a, just to say,
what's going to happen?
What's going to happen? Supply again. Is America going to consume everything, and we're not going to get anything, which will affect their hunting season? So a lot of people, they're not buying pickup loads of ammo, but what they're doing is making sure that they have enough supplies to get them through the entire hunting season and still have enough ammunition and different things to go out and practice and be an ethical hunter, and with that comes practice and shooting.
And the hand loading thing. Our reloading sales have probably tripled from last year. It's unbelievable. Once again, people have the time, the luxury of time, to take the time and get back into their reloading habits. And
learn a new skill.
Learn
a new skill, because they're like, well, if I can't buy it, I can manufacture it on my own and be pretty proud of it too.
Yep.
And it's pretty rewarding to roll your own shells up and go out and shoot your trophy or shoot your meat.
Yep.
And all by your hand. It's pretty nice.
Some of the things that I'm going to bring up here, I just want to have a candid discussion about that. We don't know all the ins and outs of it yet, so don't take this as gospel. This is just our discussion, and I'd like to get a couple COs in for a podcast here in the not so distant future to get their take on some of these things. But what are your guys' thoughts on hunting's been deemed an essential service, hunting and fishing both, or not service but activity. But COVID, they came out with all these regulations that if we don't live in the same house, we shouldn't be traveling together. We've heard of customers getting fined for you're not 6 feet apart when you're sitting front seat of a truck to go out hunting or fishing. So how do you guys feel COVID-19 is going to affect our outdoor people as we're getting into our fall, our hunting season? So would you guys be hunting with other people in the same vehicle that are not related? What are your guys' thoughts?
I'm a bit of a rebel, if you want to call it that. I don't personally buy into a lot of it, and I don't agree with the restrictions that are being imposed upon us as human beings and our rights to go out and enjoy these activities. This is just me personally. It just boils down to an enforcement, and yes, I agree. We should get a couple of the local COs and just see where they stand. What is their directive?
Mm-hmm.
What, from the top down, what is the directive? What are they told to enforce, and how are they going to go about doing that? So, it's going to be very, very interesting, and that could be an absolute game changer for a lot of people. Yeah, if you're not in the same household, you can't be in the vehicle with one another, and that just changes everything.
Like we have to take 3 trucks if we head up north.
Yeah, let's do that.
To go hunting together.
Yeah, that's a real green initiative right there. So, anyway. So, from an enforcement...
price, so you might as well make...
Oh, fuel's cheap. They're all practically giving that away.
So just bring 3 vehicles and ramp it back up.
Yeah, from a green initiative, let's do that. Let's take 3 diesel trucks up north. But, it just boils down to enforcement. What are they going to be doing? Good question. Great question. But hot topic, and, maybe that will just eliminate a lot of the mid and lower mainland hunters from coming up north this year. That's a very real possibility. So we'll reach out and touch on that, and hopefully we can get some of the local COs in here and just see their take on it.
I also question, along those same lines, when COVID first kicked in, we had, I don't know if it was a CO that came in and dropped it off or who it was, but someone dropped off government recommendations for hunting and fishing, and it says hunt within your area.
Mm-hmm. Well, define that.
Is that your province? Is that your within 100 kilometers of where you live? What does hunt within your area mean? And then the next question that comes along is, will it be enforced? Will there be COs that if you are from outside this region, you shouldn't be hunting here?
Yeah, if you're region 1, you're supposed to hunt in your region 1. If you're region 7, you're hunting region 7.
Yeah.
That's how I read that little blurb. Because how else do you define your region?
And it just said your area.
That's
Hunt
right.
within your area, which...
And area is your MU where you reside.
Unit, MU area, GMA area, yeah.
So within a region 7, there's what? 57 MUs?
Yeah.
Or something along that line?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a lot of borders and boundaries. Now, based on your population area, I would say within your region. If you reside in region 7A, say the Prince George region, that's your home base, call it, right?
But good questions for the COs. What are they told to enforce? How rigid are they going to be on those parameters?
And as far as interactions and distancing and, everything else, I think the outdoor sports and everything else are a prime example of it's as social distancing as you can be.
I agree. Traveling
within your vehicle is one thing. Anybody who's not feeling good is not going to hop in a vehicle with anybody.
Common sense.
That's going to take place. Once you're in the field, I mean, I don't walk with another person when we're hunting or pushing bush or doing anything like that.
You don't hold hands?
No holding hands, hardly at all.
Oh.
I got it. Yeah, so I mean, I really question, are we going to see a lot less Southerners up here just because they don't feel comfortable leaving their area, or because they feel it's immoral or illegal to be hunting up here?
And I've heard of different scenarios. You've heard it from the West Coast, fishing, you know, with out of province type situations where people are, you know, I've just heard that, yeah, they're not, you know,
Alberta,
locals are making
Alberta plates are
not real welcome,
welcome
because of things like that. So, I mean, creating a rift like that, I mean, you're within the province and we're abiding by our things, and I feel like, I mean, if you're looking to enforce different scenarios, I mean, you're better off breaking up parties and houseboat tours, you know, not hunters.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. One of our customers was probably one of the first people that I knew to go down to the coast, or to go out to the coast to do a little ocean fishing. And he was telling us how sketchy it was just to line up the boat to go fishing, and then he was recommended to not park down by the docks. He was supposed to find anywhere else in Prince Rupert to park, and then catch a ride down to the docks because it was an unknown vehicle. Even though he had BC plates, that's how sketchy it was. And basically the boat came driving by, he had to throw his stuff in, jump in to go fishing at 5 a.m. Now that was, like I say, that was early on in the COVID pandemic. I was just out there, thank you, last week, and it was nowhere near that bad. I mean, the guys in our hotel, we had 3 guys on motorcycles from Saskatoon parked right beside us that were doing the tour, and there are actually a few people from Saskatchewan that were fishing, and Albertans right beside us, so there were lots of plates, and it seemed to be back open, and lots of people down at the docks again. So I think it's become a little more relaxed out there as well. And yeah, it wasn't a big faux pas to be down there. It wasn't people weren't being shunned for being out of province. So I think it's getting better in that sense. Yeah. We did see, though, on a bunch of the other boats, the charter guys had masks for all their customers. They weren't enforcing wearing them, but it was an option, and a lot of the people on the boats were wearing masks. Yeah. So, I mean, we might have had binoculars out to see what colored flashers they're using, or see if we could figure out what hooks, because there were a few boats that were just slaying the fish, so we might have been scoping it out, but got to see all the masks and stuff too. So
yeah,
people were taking some precautions.
Absolutely, and all the power to you.
Yep, yeah, for sure. Guides and outfitters.
Wow.
COVID-19 and guides and outfitters. Who wants to touch on that?
That's a hot topic. So Americans can't come in, Europeans can't come in. All the big ticket hunts are.
A lot of Canada can't even come in.
A lot of the provinces can't come in. Yeah. So the majority of the guide outfitting industry is curtailed to the point where they've got a little bit of BC and Alberta clients.
They have some resident clients. And depending on if you're from the territories, it's very different. The NWT is effectively just shut down, period. There is nobody hunting.
Yeah.
The government is not issuing non-resident tags.
How about the Yukon?
The Yukon
allows BC for sure.
BC, but not Alberta, I heard.
Alberta is going to be opened up. They're reviewing it because we talked to Rick yesterday. He's booked.
Yep.
And he's going up with Nathan and Rob at Yukon Peak.
Yeah. And he's from Alberta.
And he's Alberta. They're approving that, but there is changes and things that constantly are evolving. They just got green light to basically go to their camps and stuff. They left Sunday this week. They headed up with some horses and stuff, and we're getting camps ready. No. But basically, it's all resident only.
Now, Greg, maybe you can confirm this. I heard potentially there are going to be some better resident deals to be had out there for certain species.
basically, I mean, it's at the outfitter's discretion. If they need to go in and shore up camps and different things, so they have, they're like some of them are say taking it Canadian funds. If the hunt was 16,000 US, some of the guys are making deals. I mean,
there's a 32% savings. That's significant. You very well may never get the opportunity to hunt a guided Class A guided hunt for the kind of money.
All the people I know in the guide industry, their phones have been just blowing up, and everybody's gouging, trying to get a deal.
Right.
So basically, it's the outfitter's tag. I mean, some of those things are quotas, and they'll be there next year. They're not losing that hunt. What they're losing is just
the revenue for this season.
The revenue for this season. Yeah. Your guides are now going to disperse to whatever. They're going to start swinging hammers or digging ditches or whatever. Like they've got to make up for the shortfall, because usually they're up guiding, and so a lot of guides have basically donned a different hat. I mean, they're all working, doing other things. Like I know most of them, 80% of the guys I know aren't working, and the other 20% are, tied up with an outfit, say in the Yukon or BC, and they're just running a skeleton crew. Like Rob's operation, I think they're gonna basically plan on doing 9 hunts instead of about 30. That's the difference.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, no moose, maybe 1 moose, a handful of sheep, and some bears, and that's it. And most of those are BC resident type hunts. That's it. So basically just shoring up camp, getting your stuff so you can turn the keys and leave it for the winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I guess the one positive that comes out of this is a little less pressure on the game, whether it's right around here, because we are known to be a destination for a lot of people from the coast. We see normally about this time of the year we got a lot of people from down south coming up buying stuff, so it's not so good for our business to not have them coming up, but it's great for the animals. They might get a little bit of a reprieve from...
I would say the exact opposite.
You think?
There's more people with time.
Yeah.
They want to fill their freezer. I think your resident pressure and resident influence will be the highest it's ever been.
Local residents.
Everywhere.
Residents, period. Yeah.
And people are going to jump on the bandwagon that, there's no outfitters in the area. This is the year I'm going to go, because the outfitters aren't going to be chasing stuff around. I'm going to have a better odds.
Yeah.
It will be as busy as you've ever seen it. Mark my words.
Well, we'll have this
touch on
discussion
this
in a couple months.
We'll touch on this.
We'll see you in November,
and we'll verify that by talking with our CEO friends and see. All right.
Yeah, getting back to enforcement once again. What is their mandate?
What did you see? What is the plan?
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to put up check stops on the road, I mean, you're going to be. I mean, how can you designate a hunter as being a social distancing issue? You might as well have a roadblock on 8th Street because
too many people are going to Walmart.
That's right.
Canadian Tire.
Are you from the same household as you're giving your friend a ride down to the thing? It's just what do you enforce, and does it make logical sense? People just are aware, and they take good precautions. I mean, the word's out there. If you're hopping in with someone for 10 days, you're going to go over the simple fact that, are you good? Are you healthy? Let's roll. Because you're not getting in that truck together till the day you're leaving.
Yeah.
So,
fair enough.
Yeah.
So, it has been interesting over the last month, the amount of, even though borders are shut down, flights are still coming in. We had a customer last week from Switzerland, custom knife maker. Seems like a really neat guy, but he's up here touring around and he's heading north and stuff. And then we had a family from Russia that didn't speak English.
How'd that go?
Family of 4. Just looking around. Yeah, just touring through
and taking pictures.
Yeah. And we still see a lot of U.S. plates, and we have customers coming in that are from different states looping through here. I mean, we see more than probably anyone else would, because we are the beginning of the Alaska Highway. And I know the borders were open to anyone that has property up in Alaska to go through, but even though the borders are closed, they're definitely not closed, because we are seeing lots of out of country.
Yeah, if you're essential services or deemed essential, that border's still open. I mean, the trucks are driving back and forth every day, right? Yeah. And that will continue, but the looky-loos and the people that want to go shopping at Pier 1,
right,
ain't gonna happen. And that's, so I guess, I'd like to know what, when you hit the border, what's it like when you're, if you have property in the U.S., is there like a game plan? Is there a checklist that you basically have to go through?
Yeah, I heard that fines were being handed out in Banff and Jasper Park for Americans that were hanging out there for a week, because they're supposed to just be driving on through, and you've got X amount of time that you should be taking to get through
Canada
like a check to get up to the States, where they were hanging out in the national parks for a week and then getting fined. So. Yeah,
and they're like, well, I'll hang out for a week. It's only 200 Canadian, so that's like $8 US.
Use the kids' allowance to stay here for the week.
Yeah.
So back to the COVID second wave. There are discussions. There are, even though we're way up north, we were COVID free for 6-8 weeks, whatever it was, for quite some time, and everyone was all happy. Now there's cases in Pooskoopi confirmed. There's cases at Sightsee Dam confirmed. Not that I trust Facebook, but someone was posting that there was a case at one of the local restaurants here on the 23rd or something, and so it's coming through in a second wave. What are your guys' thoughts on Corlane's as a business during this second wave, to be prepared, and just so our customers know what we're going to be doing?
Early in the whole COVID world, we as a business, we respect safety of our customers and our staff, and we had a lot of very serious discussions and meetings with our staff and their safety and how they felt about things, and we shut down for a week with door delivery, and then after that we kind of allowed for a soft 5-person period in the building, and with mandatory sanitation coming in and not wandering around the store touching and trying everything on. This is just essential. What do you need? How can I help you? Have a nice day. And we our customers seemed very appreciative that we were doing our best to just supply with what we could, and still take precautions. I mean, we put the Lexan up on our tills. We have the distancing tape on the floor. We're doing our best, and we're going to remain to do our best. We feel it's important that we do supply our customers' needs as best possible, and we're part of the supply chain, and we want to continue to do our best. So is it real? Is it coming again? Yes, it is definitely going to be ramping up a bit, and we just need to stay on our game for sure.
And like I said at the beginning of the podcast, we know there's many different opinions on COVID-19 and all those sorts of things, and we're not going to get into the conspiracy theories and the politics and those sorts of things behind it. We just need to let our customers know that, number one, we care about your safety, we care about our staff safety, no matter what level of threat this is, and we will do what we can to, number one, like you say, supply everybody, our customers, with what they need for the season, as well as keeping everybody safe. So we just ask that everybody, whether it's staff, whether it's customers, just keep that in mind when you're coming through, and small steps. Take small steps to ensure everybody's safe. One thing that we have noticed that we'll touch on just for a brief moment here is, since we have reopened, since the economy's down, since people aren't working, we have definitely, and I spent hours yesterday looking at it, seen an increase in theft, which has just been, my guts were just churning yesterday watching footage of some specific individuals stealing stuff out of our building. There are hot items that we're aware of. We definitely have to ramp up our security, ramp up our time on the floor and stuff, because people have time and people don't have money, seems to be the thing. And so I guess if they can sell these products or give these, I don't know what they're doing with it, but we are definitely seeing a jump in theft, which is extremely discouraging.
And I think and a lot of other places
Are feeling it too.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, a lot of businesses in town are the same thing, and we have ramped things up, and we're taking pretty extreme measures. So
yeah, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, don't leave your bike unlocked, kind of thing as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, second wave, we'll do what we can to be safe, but still be open to our consumers. I do recommend that if you have questions, reach out to us online, go to our website, look at our products there. We do only have currently about a quarter to a third of the store uploaded, but we've got our diligent tech team working hard to get more and more products on every day as we see the demand. We have seen probably double the amount of people on our website since COVID started till now, which has been great to see that kind of traffic checking out what we've got, and we definitely need to do what we can to get more products uploaded. But it's a first good start is check us out online. We're posting daily on social media new products that have just rolled in the back doors. We have shipments every day. That back door opens up numerous times a day to bring in all kinds of new products. So we'll try and keep you guys informed with the new cool stuff coming in. And with that, supply and demand. We're seeing some issues with supply and demand. With COVID, we've sold through certain brands like Marlin, for example. Marlin Leave Reactions, which we bought enough product that would normally last us the year, and we sold out of the hot items during COVID, which was in the first quarter. So we definitely needed to get out and order more product, but we now are seeing with some very big brands that we normally can bring in every other week if we need to, 6, 8, 10, 12,
3 months.
6, 3 to 6 months.
Or we don't know answers. We're getting a lot of, we have no idea answers, and things are
in the
very,
gun
very
part
hot.
world, in the gun part world, like in the manufacturing part of things, not saying the big, it is like
It's a nightmare.
unbelievably slow.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of these guys contract other companies to build their products. Those companies are shut down. So, said company one gets this bolt handle made from this other company because they don't have that casting equipment in-house. That company shut down indefinitely. So that just stopped all completed production. And it's a 50-cent part.
Yeah.
And they have no way to remedy it. So I've had stuff on order since March from a very big company who does a lot of business, who is almost a, within the week kind of company. And it's been 4 months and they haven't been able to produce a single unit.
Well, yeah, in the ammunition world, I mean, we've had some very, very cooker-cutter merchandise, like Hornady ammunition, 7mm Hunter Precision. It's one of our biggest selling 7-mag ammos. We've had it on order for 3 months. We've been told we don't know from Hornady. There's a big shipment coming in another 3-4 weeks. They don't know what's on it.
Yep.
No guarantees that we're going to have one of our hottest selling shells on the shelf. And if you've got a custom turret built for that cartridge, got some real bad news for you. I hope you got enough ammo for the year, but seriously, it's a grave concern, and I can't stress the importance of be proactive right now, like immediately. Get out, do some summertime shooting. If you need to try a different ammo and get a turret burned, do that. Because this is going to get real. We don't want to be the bearer of bad news come September 1st.
Yeah, and we're gonna hear about it.
Oh, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly, I'll guarantee it.
We got a person on this 24 hours a day.
Yes, we do.
But because we burned a turret for ammunition a year ago, that person's looking for that ammo and it doesn't exist. You get the same thing. Why did you shoot it in with this ammo? Well, it was perfectly available 3 months ago.
3 months ago, exactly.
Or less.
So some big concerns. Again, I can't stress, you need to get ahead of it. Check your gear out, check your supply, check your...
And you don't need 100 boxes of it.
No, get a couple boxes of shells.
Get you through the season.
Get enough for this year's needs. Don't be hoarding and be part of the problem. Take care of your needs.
If I have 100 boxes, I'd rather make 50 people happy than one guy happy. And it's honestly, that type of mentality it just disappears,
And I was telling everyone that back when COVID happened and people were coming in and hoarding ammo, I was actually saying, you know what, I'm not going to sell you 10 boxes, I'm going to sell you 4. And I was convincing them that they didn't need to buy as much as they were wanting to. And most people, I was suggesting take care of this year's requirements, not 5 years' requirements. And a lot of people were, conscientious and thought about it and slowed down their purchasing to a degree.
Just spread it out a little bit.
Spread it out.
Because, it's nice to make sure, because I always, there's a lot of people out there shooting the same ammo, and I don't want to just cut off 5 people to appease one person who just wants to fill their entire truck.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's, try to keep it reasonably fair, or I think I can. But I sure know, like in the building world, the modifications, the guns that are coming out of the woodwork is astronomical.
Well, and in November, when we go down to some of our buying shows, we walk through shops for some of our biggest suppliers and importers for many large brands across Canada. And they have warehouses that are 10 times the size of our building with AutoCAD maps of the quickest way to get from point A to point B to grab this gun or that part, and just phenomenal setups, floor to ceiling, with many, many millions of dollars of guns that just sent us a price list yesterday to show us the weird oddball guns that they have left over, and they have no idea when their next shipment's coming in. They've got we can pick 47 guns when they'd normally have thousands to choose between. And it's components, like you say, they're not made in North America. They're missing parts and stuff, and there is no supply.
Yep. They might be assembled.
Yeah.
But those knickknacks
manufactured
are just
save a little money.
Putting the squeeze on things. I mean, and I see it, whether it be just replacement parts, small manufacturer type things. I mean, when people like Reading have shut down, dyes, brass.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long when you're shut down for a month and nothing moves. The supply is still, the demand is still building. So when they open up the doors, they're so far behind they don't know where to start. They might as well just start over. They just slash.
And we have seen orders of ours that have just vanished. They just
they don't exist anymore. They basically just pick a date. Everything that was happening.
We're seeing a lot of that, and it's frustrating because we're in the middle. We've had people that have had stuff on special order for 4, 6, 8 months, and it's supposed to be here. Where is it? And we phone. We don't know anything about that order, and we're caught in the middle, and it's frustrating because we're the guy that said it'll be here in 6 months.
Because they told us.
Because they told us that. Well, nobody planned COVID.
No,
not my fault, but we live it.
The other thing that we saw, or we're still dealing with, is, for example, we had customers waiting on Keltec firearms. And Keltec come through one distributor in Canada who had COVID go through their warehouse, and they shut down. They were shut down for a very long time. And I think they're back open now. But again, the back orders, trying to get product, the whole...
Well, if you have no one answering emails and fill in orders and all that kind of stuff, where do you pick up the ball? How far back do you go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably the answer is today.
Start fresh.
Start today.
Yeah.
That's easy. Start
fresh
is easy.
Continuing to phone really wants it.
Yeah.
Right? And
one thing we're encouraging people to do, and I don't mean to be a high pressure car salesman, but you know what? If you want to purchase said gun, we know that we have them coming in. The people that are putting money down are getting that product. And we don't mean to put the pressure on, but if you're right serious, commit financially, and you will get the first one in the door. That is how we are operating right now, and it's just the way we have to operate.
Yep.
So it seems to be working. People are
amicable
towards it, and it's
not strange to have to put a deposit down on
no, exactly. So you got to pay for it sometime.
Yep.
Speaking of supply and demand, Greg.
Yeah.
The shop. So for anyone that doesn't know or has never been in our store, Corlane Sporting Goods is not just a sporting goods store. We're also a custom gun building shop, and we build Rocky Mountain rifles and do fully customizations like this custom Tikka in front of you here that started off as a bare bones Tikka that is now a very custom, very specific lightweight mountain rifle. So give us an update on the shop and how it's running.
Well, I have officially committed to not sleeping.
That stuff's overrated. You don't need that.
So yeah, the shop has always been busy, and there's always, it's always busy.
Yep.
But it ebbs and flows, with the different delivery seasons. This year, there hasn't even come close. It has just been going up, up, up.
I think we've got upwards of 500 guns in the shop right now. Is that correct?
Close, it flounders
450?
in the high fours. Yeah, and they're leaving here, but they're reproducing. They're coming in from all over Canada
faster than we can get them out the door.
Sam's down there just opening up boxes. There's just guns rolling in boxes.
Yeah,
and a lot of people are basically taking their gun because they can't go buy a new one. So they're taking this custom Tikka like this, and they're like, you know what? I'm going to make it the gun I want because I can't buy the gun I'm really looking for. So they're putting them together. There are also a lot of people with their spare time that maybe were distant from the hunting industry are back in it. They dug their gun out of the safe that they hadn't used in 10 years. They're like, yep, let's do a refinish and fix that up. Let's get a new optic to it so I can catch up with the times. Get it zeroed in and get some ammo tested. And that type of work is crazy. Like the full-on blown custom builds are still there. But the redos, the modification stuff is just unreal. Like, I've never seen it at this pace. Which is trying in itself. I mean, we... Basically, 7 of us run around that shop full tilt all day long.
Can't
keep my head above it.
And I gotta say, in the 3 years that I've been here, I really like where the shop's sitting now, staff-wise. There was a bit of turnover there for a little while with some staff coming and going, and tough to find someone for Sam's position, for example, which is a integral part to the shop.
And a dynamic part. You got to be hands-on. You also have to be savvy and be able to answer phones, but be able to pick up a gun, lap rings, mount a scope, tear something down. I mean, you are a jack of all trades.
We have some new hands down there. We got them trained, and they're producing, and the flow seems to be going very good down there. I'm impressed with the numbers of guns that come out of that shop on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, but the same thing. It's just it needs to be 30% more. Which there isn't
to get
enough
ahead of it.
To get ahead of it.
To get ahead of
just
it.
Not enough
just
hours in the day.
maintain to get ahead, and we're going backwards almost. And the season's upon us. So
the season's here, and then it gets, then you get the emergency. I need this done right now, and it's like
lack of planning on your part.
I don't want to say it.
I don't want to say it.
I mean, we try to be as flexible and helpful in every aspect, and everyone knows that.
Yeah. We do our best.
The guy that's had his gun here for 3 weeks for the same job
that you're wanting today,
that guy 3 weeks ago, really I've got to take care of him.
Yep.
There is circumstances above our control, and everyone's like, oh, you should just have a priority service and charge 20% more for a rush job, and I'm like, no, I'm not that kind of.
That's
not all our customers matter.
Everybody is the same. Every customer, everyone's equal.
Yeah.
We're not that business ever.
No. I guess the one focus is what's being done and what sorts of jobs are the customers bringing in, and those are the things that we need to pay attention. I mean, you guys have this under control back there, but to our consumers, to our customers, we don't bring this up to be discouraging in any way, shape, or form to try and turn you away or anything.
No.
It's just be aware that there will be a wait. Right now, standard jobs are 4 to 6 weeks.
Yep. And there's lots of jobs that are, we say 4 to 6 weeks. There are jobs that are minutes, and there's jobs that are months.
Yep.
And the more hands they touch affects the timeline.
Yeah.
The one thing that I tell people is component control. If I don't have it in the building, I will not estimate or quote a time because I am
supply chain once again.
I am at the mercy of someone else. And that's the hardest thing to get across sometimes is the fact that I will do it. I will put that order in.
Yeah. And we were told we get this quite often sitting up in the purchasing officers or purchasing office, that we are told by our supplier, oh yeah, that'll be shipped out in 2 weeks. So we pass that on to the consumer.
That's right.
And then the consumer calls 3 weeks later, where's my part? And then they're upset with us, but the part, we still haven't received the part. So
that's the one I like, because I'm literally like, you want to hear it? I'll put it on speakerphone.
Yeah,
that part will be in 2 weeks. That's coming from my supplier.
Yeah.
And customer A, did you hear that? Okay. Now you set your calendar, I'll set mine, and I will be surprised if it gets here in 2 weeks.
And so those are the frustrations with shipping, with COVID, all these.
Just be flexible. I mean, like I say, I have my mitts in everything all day long, and my number one goal is to
get product out the door. Do the job well.
Because finished stuff makes people happy.
Yeah. We've also seen with rushing, that's where mistakes can happen as well. When someone, I needed it yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, we can get it to you, but we never got through the full process and never got to QC it and properly.
Do you want the job right or right now?
Yeah.
That's the same.
You can't have both.
You can't have both. But, I mean, and that's one of the things that a lot of our product goes all over Canada. So number one is that you do not want to forget guy from Ontario's caps.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Doesn't seem like a big problem. I got him sitting here they're sitting beside my bench. But he's at best 7-8 days away to get that product to him.
Yeah.
Someone in shipping forgets to send the bolt with the gun. Oh, that's going to be a big problem.
Expensive walking stick he's got.
That's right. So quality control, verifying the work is accurate and correct.
Yeah.
Then it leaves. Those extra 10 minutes spent on your gun will ensure that there is no loose ends that could be forgotten. I mean, as simple as a stud not being put back in after we shoot it at the range.
Yeah.
That's a big deal to some people. To me, whatever, I'll throw one off my other gun, or I'll go down to the sports store and get one. Some people don't have that access, or are very reserved to tackle a project like that, like shorten up a stud a little bit. And that gun's coming back. Yeah. And it's $100 round trip.
Shipping,
for a 5-cent piece, and 2 weeks at a time.
2 to 3 weeks.
Well, and we
don't even know.
We've got some amazing customers up in, for example, Clyde River, Nunavut.
Yeah.
Who have to wait 3 to 4 weeks before they see anything.
Yeah.
And $70 shipping just to get this item up there.
It's crazy.
And so if that goes up missing a part or wrong, or it's definitely a big problem. So
yeah, and they don't have a hardware store that's going to help out.
No.
Those are so remote. I mean, I get the weird emails and parts and pieces that they're, from up there, and it's like, wow.
And we've talked about, we'd love to be able to expand the physical dimensions of the shop, but we're at a restraint in our physical building. We've talked about hiring more people to continue to do the work, to be able to take care of more projects as they come in. But again, there's no training facility in Canada pumping out gunsmiths. There's no training facility pumping out people with this knowledge. You can have a machinist, you can have different trades, you can have the guy that likes to tinker in his basement on his guns and calls himself a gunsmith. There's nowhere to just pull people to just throw them into the job. It's a training process that it's pulling, for example, you off of ripping and tearing guns to teach them. So now it's slowing down the shop to train up people that will essentially speed up the shop, because we'll have more qualified people. But it's not like just going out and hiring a carpenter.
No.
There are no gunsmiths.
The uniqueness and dynamic of what we do is an experience-based position, period. You cannot train the variety of guns that are coming through.
Yeah.
Anyone can run a ratchet or a screwdriver, sure, but it's putting the whole project together.
Yeah.
And they're all different. Every single one has issues, differences, parts, style, and that only comes with touching every project.
Yeah.
And a place like this, I mean, I've known gunsmiths that have been gunsmiths and very, very good gunsmiths that have been 40 years in the industry, but they're smaller scale. They're phoning here.
Yeah.
Because, you know why? It's because the volume and the uniqueness of how many projects we see.
Yeah.
There's basically not a gun other than some ancient old frickin' double gun. But what I'm saying is that there's not a gun on this planet that I probably haven't been in, taken apart, assessed, or fixed at one time or another.
Yeah.
And because of all of that, you have the knowledge to say, well, that's wrong there. I don't even have to look at it to tell what's the issue.
Yeah.
So it's pretty, that part of things, but it does come with a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woodworking's woodworking, stocks, but I mean that assessing problems and fixing it and knowing what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Experience, and that's time is a valuable commodity, and it's
yeah, for sure. Thank you for the update.
Yeah.
The next thing I want to touch on can be a tough discussion, because we at Corlane's, we don't, when it comes to social media, when it comes to our public face, we don't get political. And we've got customers that are conservative, we've got customers that are liberal, and we believe everyone has the right to their own opinion, and we live in a democracy, and it's phenomenal. But we're going to get into the federal government gun ban and discuss this for a little bit, because it, number one, will drastically affect our business. Number two, will drastically affect our way of life in the not so distant future, depending how this plays out. So yeah, so it's tough to talk about without getting our political views out there, and I mean, it's going to come out in the conversation and how we feel. But again, our goal is not to be upsetting any of our customers, because they might feel differently than we do. But instead of talking about the political parties and who's right, who's wrong, who's better, we want to get down to the brass tacks and talk about what's going on with the federal government gun ban and how it was put into place, and just a brief discussion on that. So the first thing, again, just like COVID-19, when the government first announced that they were trying to push through this gun ban, it was great for sales. We saw numbers of any of the types of guns that we thought were going to be on the list, which the government didn't release a list until the day it occurred. We saw it, boom, the gun ban is in place. The next day they sent out the list. An incorrect list where guns came and went, and it did this with what guns were on that list, but it happened overnight.
Yeah.
But up until that point, people had an idea that semi-automatic, I guess that was it, semi-automatic firearms would be on the list, so people just snatched them up left, right, and center. So it was great for sales up front, but in the end, I think with the products that ended up on the list, we did okay, as we only had 2 guns in the building, but then 4 more rolled in the next week after the gun ban that we got stuck with. So we're only sitting on 6 guns. It won't make or break us. But there are other businesses out there that are tactical stores across Canada that are sitting on hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in inventory that they legally can't sell. They can't export it out of the country. They can't ship them anywhere.
Exporting is allowed.
Now it is?
It is allowed. I actually got a letter in the mail yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So exporting, they can be deactivated. They can be welded shut, which is a little ridiculous. You can export them,
yeah.
And you can bring them to a store like us to assist in the export. So that's a letter. I literally got that letter about 2 days ago in the mail, and I'm sorry, I should have brought that up here. That's very, very fresh. So
interesting.
So they have opened up the border to export. Whether it's valuable enough to pay the $300 to $500 to export or not is debatable. Maybe if you've got 50 guns and they're all worth a bunch of money, and export to where?
Who's going to buy them?
What are you doing? Where's it going? You know, the Americans are. It's a pretty tight process to get them back into the U.S., but it's possible. As a dealer, we can't do anything. Our hands are tied.
The average person on the planet is not
going to deal with it.
Even going to remotely go to that. You know, that's yeah.
So it's a dicey situation, without a doubt, and you know, we've all been caught in it. Some businesses are not going to recover from this. They're done. They're finished. Some of our suppliers, some of our big suppliers who are black gun suppliers, they're done. Some of the individual standalone businesses that are black gun stores out there are bleeding right now. They've got handcuffs on hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's cash flow. They're not going to survive this.
Good.
Waiting for it to get turned around in court. It's being challenged, but when is that? Is that a priority for the court system? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So
and the court systems are backed up due to COVID. They're all trying to do court from home.
It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a complete mess.
So it's a perfect. I mean, I think it's the greasiest move ever. You take a economy, you take all the people at their lowest, and then stuff this down their face, and they know for a fact that can be no build-up of opposition because they've got you cornered.
Well, and it was an order in council. It wasn't even brought through Parliament the way that it should have been brought through. It was just forced down, like you say, forced down our throat.
And the tool was misused. Yeah. Order in council is an emergency measures act, quote unquote emergency.
Yeah.
There was no emergency going on, and
there's no gun emergencies happening in this country.
The saddest thing about this was the mass murders out in Nova Scotia, and he was playing on the emotion of a lot of people.
So we've got our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau forcing through this order in council, which should only have been used for emergencies, during a pandemic, right after a mass shooting out in Nova Scotia that had illegally obtained firearms from someone who gun control had pulled his licensing, and he was not allowed to acquire firearms. Yet the news spun it that some of the guns were obtained within Canada. Well, out of the 4 guns, again, not to get too deep into this, out of the 4 guns, 3 were obtained illegally from the States, and 1 was obtained within Canada off the body of one of the officers he shot. So that was the one obtained within Canada. Yeah. And the media spun it that some of these were obtained within Canada. Yeah, off the person he executed and took their firearm. So, again, without getting too deep into the politics of the gun control and stuff, the way Justin Trudeau and the Liberal government pushed this was completely unethical, and it was a terrible way to do it under all these other things that were going on, but was probably an amazing political move because he could force it through and pull at the heartstrings and stuff, even though if you get down into it, it was absolute BS.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So how did it affect us? At this point, like I say, we were only stuck with 6 guns. It's not huge for us, but other
thankfully
businesses
we are more of a hunting
sporting firearms store. We're not a black gun store.
We sell semi-automatic shotguns. We do this and that, but more into because we're in the northern climate. We're more in the hunting world, where a lot of guys are not, and they supply all the local clubs and the 3-gun guys all their firearms, which is a massive, massive shooting club.
Yeah.
And all of their stuff is on the list now. You know, I've had to redo, I don't know how many guys' ARs. Now they've got, like another Centerfire FX9 or something like that.
Little 9mm.
To replace their ARs, which they cannot use in competition anymore. And these guys are traveling, and they spend countless days and hours in their sport, and this was all taken away.
So there's one interesting thing, and I'm as a firearms owner in Canada, you should have got this letter from the government that cost us about $2.1 million, I think it cost
to mail that out.
To mail this out to all the people in Canada. I received one, and in the bottom left-hand corner, in the finest print here, it actually says exceptions are included under the amnesty order to allow for the continued use of the newly prohibited firearms and or devices, if previously non-restricted, by individuals, and this is the part that's very interesting, who hunt or trap to sustain themselves or their families. So essentially, when I read that, that tells me if you've got a Mini 14 and you live in BC, that gun's a prohibited weapon under this order. However, if you sustain your family by choosing to hunt, you can take that gun and continue to hunt. Mm-hmm. You can't go hunting with your AR-15, but if you've got a semi-automatic that's on the list and you hunt and sustain and eat your food, you can still hunt with it.
Yeah. So if you're packing it during a legal hunting season and this and that,
exactly.
From that,
so there's a bit of a loophole there that's interesting. I brought that to a lot of people's attention, and it has a lot of power. It has a lot of merit right there. So it doesn't apply to a lot of the firearms on there. I mean, most people, hunt with a bolt gun anyway, but it's a bit of latitude. It's just very interesting, and that's very concrete in my eyes. So
yeah. What's the definition of hunt to sustain themselves?
You know what? I sustain myself. Can I afford to go to the butcher block? Yes. Do I choose to? No. I choose to hunt and eat moose, elk, deer,
whatever else,
fish. You know, I have wild game in my freezer.
Yeah.
I sustain my family, so I qualify. 100%.
Yeah.
Crystal clear. And I don't think there's a judge in the country that would disagree.
Nope.
Let alone a CO officer.
Do you want to open the lid on my freezer? Because it's there.
Yeah.
You want to see sustain?
Yeah.
There it is.
Sustenance.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
there might be a pound of bacon in there, but that doesn't make up the lion's share of what's in my freezer
right.
at any
So-
given time.
4 to 5 nights a week, we're eating wild game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That we
Yeah,
shop
I
And
love
just
hunting.
waiting for another hunting season to come up to fill it back up
Fill it
because
back
mine's
up.
looking lean. Yeah.
Yeah. With this gun ban occurring, I just want to throw a shout out to KKS Tactical in Prince George and other businesses across Canada that are suing the government with class action lawsuits stating that it was a poor way to bring this about. So to you guys out there, keep fighting the good fight. We can support them, whether it's these businesses or directly support the CCFR. You can make donations to them. Call and write your local MPs. There's lots of things that we as the general population can do to help fight this fight. But we're a proud sponsor of an upcoming documentary on the Sportsman's Channel Canada with our friend and Rocky Mountain Rifle sporting outdoors woman Amanda Lynn Mayhew, Jim Shockey, and other notable speakers. And in this, they're going to look at the realities and consequences of the Order in Council put in by Justin Trudeau. So watch for this. It will be coming out soon. We don't have a release date, but we are sponsoring this event and made donations to the CCFR as well in fighting this, as it will cost millions of dollars to challenge this in court. So thank you to everyone that is fighting this fight.
And I think we should put on our website exactly where people can donate if they want to get involved and contribute towards some of those expenses, because I know we've had some question and we just want some clarity there. We'll put that on our website, so keep an eye out for that. And
memberships
We
as
need
well,
to-
like belong to your
memberships.
local gun club,
Yeah.
belong to some of these places, because with those numbers you pull more power.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
Buy memberships to
individuals-
your gun clubs.
Yeah, as individuals, it's ridiculous how limited our reach is, but as a mass, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Money and votes is all that counts in this type of stuff.
Since the gun ban kicked in, we have received hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of phone calls and used many, many hours answering the question, is my gun on the list? Go online, check out the list, it's alphabetical. We're not aware of exactly all the guns that are on it because there are, I think we're nearing 2,000 guns on that list. And so we don't have all the answers. We know the hot guns that people are asking about. They're Mini 14, they're semi-automatic shotguns. I guess the other thing to discuss is the whole shotgun 12 gauges with the choke tubes. The choke that we got calls every day about that is my pump action shotgun that has removable chokes on the list, and the way social media portrayed it, the way the government was pushing it to begin with, they were on the list. But in reality, the choke
tube, if you remove it out of a 12 gauge, is over 20 millimeters.
but it does
Plain
not
and simple.
but it does not
That's not.
it is not the bore.
That's
No, that's not the bore diameter. So it just goes to show how fast the Liberal government slammed
Smashed
this
together.
through without even putting the time and thought process in place. It actually makes them look kind of silly, because it just goes to show how panicky and, hey, let's
And
do
what-
this, and boom, they didn't think about it. And
No, what it
it did
captured-
include, though, it did capture all the 12 gauges, all the 10 gauges, and then they put the 10,000 joule thing. Well, a 460 Weatherby bolt-action rifle designed to shoot an elephant is now on the list.
Oh, and smaller calibers than that.
You literally can't go that, are you kidding me? A 460? Come on.
Well, you look a lot of the express guns. Like again, you can buy a factory Seiko off the shelf and a
500
Gibbs. It's on that list.
Yeah.
That gun is
Yeah.
just a repeating bolt action, and it's used for dangerous game, moose, elk, whatever.
Yeah, and you want to shoot it once.
You want to shoot it once, but they just captured guys that have side-by-side doubles built by Holland and Holland.
Yeah.
Express calibers in the nitros, unique and strictly hunting type $100,000 guns.
Yeah.
And they are on the list.
So it goes to show once again how silly it all is, but it is being challenged, and yeah. So the shotgun thing, that was not their intent. They didn't actually intend to include 12 and 10 gauges, and
but here
we are. So it is fine to be out there with your 12 gauge. Period. No worries.
Well, and there was a website. There was, people were saying Black Rifle Coffee Company was on the list. There were toy guns on the list, and it was funny.
Some of their coffee was on the list.
Yeah, sitting with the sales rep for Black Rifle for Canada. He was talking about it, and he said overnight Black Rifle Coffee sales doubled from the social media activity that occurred around them when the gun ban came in, and so they sent Justin Trudeau a care package of all their top-selling coffees to his house with a thank you letter for his support and
that
putting
was awesome. I love going out.
I feel we should send him a thank you letter for being Gun Salesman of the Year as well, because he has really been that guy. High five, Justin.
Good work.
Yeah, proud of you.
Okay, so we'll move on from the gun ban, and just to finish off, we're going to talk about hunting season. It's just around the corner. What sorts of things do you need to know? Have there been big changes? One of the things that really changed recently, now you have to look online to see the new hunting regulations. We have not received them in hard copy yet. They should be coming. We have people asking every day. Hopefully they'll arrive any day. But one of the big things that's changed for Region 7 here is the bison hunt. So we've always had the limited entry bison hunt within this region, but now they've opened up, because the numbers are doing so well and there's very few predators for them, they've opened up some outlying areas to just a general season bison hunt. Have you guys heard anything or have any thoughts on this?
I have heard that some of those outlying areas potentially, unless you know the areas very, very well, you are limited to designated access routes up there. And that being said, unless you're
for
literally
motorized vehicle.
For motorized vehicle, exactly. So quads, side by sides.
Weight restrictions too.
Weight restrictions, well. They can't be over, I think, 500 kilo.
Basically, right? Your bigger side by sides are out.
They're out
unless it's on a specific trail. Yeah.
So that being said, access to go in and shoot a bison, how are you going to get it out?
Yeah.
If you find them, you and 10 of your buddies with pack frames, good luck, buddy. It's less work to build a cabin.
Yeah.
So maybe you want a homestead up there, but so access and physically being able to take one and manage it and get it out is going to be a challenge.
The length of the season blows me away. September 1 to basically January, right?
Yeah.
That's a long time. So, number one is that, planning, exit strategy, all of those things are paramount, right? You're dealing with something that has 4 frickin' inches of fluff on it, and they don't last long on the ground. You think a moose rolls over quick. You wait till a buffalo. Even in the middle of winter, you can spoil meat on a buffalo from leaving the hide on.
Bone rot.
My take on the scenario is, other than a horse hunt type scenario, and with some mobility, there's going to be a few taken, but you are on the fringes, and I think they're trying to just keep them
contained.
Yeah, they don't want them going and spreading up into the Musquas, the Toshotes, the Kachikas.
Yeah.
They do not want buffalo in those areas, because then they'll be forced to move them out in a more aggressive fashion.
I agree. I question the success rate of the open season hunt.
I think it'll be busy come snowfall.
This season will be busy.
Your sled traffic and stuff.
People will discover
how tough it is to get in there.
And they're not exactly, it's just like hunting elk in a lot of ways. Everything's a desert, and then you find a little herd. There's not just a buffalo every 3 miles. All the buffalo be in one spot.
Yeah.
So a lot of country to cover, and it's rugged. All that dirt. But if you're a motivated hunter, at least now you have the opportunity to go. I hunt sheep zones that are probably 1 in 400 kill a sheep. I'll roll them dice because I can be the 1 in 400.
Yeah.
Where's your motivation at? You'll get her done. Yeah. But if you are ill prepared for it, you're gonna suffer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you'll lose an animal. You'll literally spoil it, and you're bringing green meat home.
Yeah.
Waste of an animal. So yeah, it's a challenge. Do your research. Talk to some people that know, people that have done it, people that have dealt with bison. They're a different creature. I've hunted a lot of game, taken a lot of animals.
Yeah.
A bison is a completely different game.
You roll over a 3,000-pound bull.
Now what?
Yeah, it's challenging enough with a tractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't
Been
even
there.
Yeah, so
Been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess to finish off, do you guys have any hunting plans as we're rolling into hunting season?
Actually gonna go bison hunting later on. Got a guided hunt later on this year. Got that going on. Might go up to Kachika. Maybe do some elk hunting up there and sneak up. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go find the first mountain I can climb and get after it here in a few weeks. So
Hopefully tip a sheep over.
How about you, Aaron? What do you got
early
going on?
season.
Well, not a whole lot. Blew out my knee. I was supposed to go on an August 15th goat hunt with a buddy that got a limited entry draw, but just throwing the pack and weight on, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do it due to an injury this season. But we've got a possible late season sheep hunt coming up. We'll see what the weather's doing. We'll see. The number one thing is the next week I have to go see the doctor because it's been 3 weeks and my knee is not getting any better. And stairs are a tough thing for me right now, so I'm thinking the mountains are going to suck. So talking to a guy that just went through a similar situation and went on a hunt, and he says he should have stayed home. That was his big thing. Is he said it didn't do his knee any favors, so it might just end up being around here moose and elk and
You can work.
deer hunt. I can work while you guys hunt.
Yeah.
High five, Greg.
Yeah.
This is our year, buddy.
Did you guys get any LEHs?
None.
No.
Zero.
Bastard.
My kids got nothing. I got nothing. Big fat.
I got a doe deer. That's it.
Congratulations.
The least
Need some help
valuable.
on that, or
I don't know. There's not many out kicking around this part of the woods. So. Yeah, so that's about it for me. So thank you guys very much. It's good to get back into the hot seats here, and I just want to throw it out there that if you or anyone you know would be a good candidate to sit down and have a discussion, we are currently looking for people to line up. We're aware that round 2 of COVID's coming through, but we'd still love to get people coming up to sit in on some podcasts. We have discussed, we've had people reach out to us that want to do some podcasts that are down south or in other parts of the world, and I'd love to be able to keep them sitting around this table or being in the building, just because the audio quality is better, and it's better to have a face-to-face than through a computer discussion. But if you or anyone you know would be a great candidate, would have a cool story, anything to do with hunting, fishing, camping, the outdoors, we've got a few lined up. Like I say, I'm working on the COs, trying to get them in here, but hopefully we'll get them in soon. And I've got a couple other candidates here for the not so distant future. But reach out to us, shoot us an email, reach out on Facebook or Instagram, and let's get the discussion rolling. So again, another big thank you to these guys sitting beside me, my business partners, and to our sponsor right now, ballistics.ca. They have, like I said, just released a Swarovski, or a ring for the Swarovski Z5 and Z6 scopes, as well as this little beauty right here, the new Vortex Lightweight Hunter HDLHT. It's been one of the hottest selling scopes in our building since they came out, and we can't keep them in stock. And Ballistics just received the ballistic turrets for them to laser engrave, and we hear there's a promotion coming soon from Vortex, but we'll wait for them to announce that. So ballistics.ca, check out their custom turrets and see if they're available for your optics. If not, they do custom turret decals. Check them out. Check us out online, corlanes.com, and we'll hopefully see you in the store shortly.
Awesome.
Thanks again.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a good, safe season.